Hi guys, and welcome back to a special video. I am so excited to do this one because we're going to talk about my favorite signing, Bakwa, coming in, and what a baller he is. Or at least I think. But what do I know? There's only one person I could call for that. And that's your favorite one, because you guys love it when we're doing the videos of Antonio. Make sure you check his channel out, show him some love. Link, as always, in the title. Nice and easy. Press it, subscribe. While you're there, hit the like button here. Make sure you're subscribed, and let's get into this. What are you saying, Antonio, man? Good to have you back. Well.
So, yeah, all good, bro. I'm so excited to be back. So excited. The Premier League's kicking off, and Forest are signing everybody, and yeah, it's even getting me excited. I can't even lie. How are you doing? You all right?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Once we sort our manager issues out, then yeah, I'd assess to let back in more second kind of thing. But in terms of the players we brought in, I'm so excited by McAtee's exciting me. Douglas Luiz is exciting me. Hutchinson, I think we paid a bit too much for him, but I think he's a good player. And yeah, the one I want to talk to you about first is Bakwa, bro. Like, I'm excited by him, and these lot that watch always think I overhype certain players up and what have you. So I thought, all right, I've got to get Antonio on. Now, we haven't really we've spoken over the summer about him with the links and stuff, but nothing like too in depth about him. And now he's at the world famous City ground. I need your opinion on him, bro. And I'm hoping I'll continue to be happy about him. And you're not going to tell me his shit or anything. So, where should we kick off? Do you want to give us a little background on him for those who maybe haven't seen much of the French League and Bakwa in particular? Should we kick it off there?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I want to say, he's terrible. You're not going to get anything from him.
Oh, so we're doing now. We're doing now.
So Bakwa was he came up through the Bordeaux Academy. And that's where I first started watching him. Yeah. And he progressed through the academy. Now, when he first broke through, he was electric. He came through as an attack midfielder, and then he reverted playing right wing. He's left-footed, and then he moved to Strasbourg. But during his time at Bordeaux, he was highly rated by a lot of scouts, and he only left Bordeaux because of what happened to them. They went bankrupt, and they had to sell their best assets, really. So Strasbourg do what Strasbourg do and sign all the high young potential talent. So they brought him in from Bordeaux, and he's just excelled and become a more well-rounded player. When he first came through, he was very inconsistent and frustrating. Can't lie about it, because you could see that what he wanted to do, but he was just struggling to find that consistency in what he was trying to do. It was obvious that he had ability. Technically very, very good, and quick off the mark. His reaction speed is very good. So he brought all that to the table at Bordeaux, but he just lacked that consistency in games and kind of dipped in and out of games, if I'm being honest. But then he went to Strasbourg.
How old was he at the time? Sorry to interrupt. Is he like about 19 at that stage?
He would have, when he first broke through, I think he was about 17, 18, made his debut.
So quite early, yeah.
Yeah, very early. So he was very raw and young, and it was obvious. But I think Bordeaux needed to do it because they couldn't really buy anyone. So they had no money. The finances were terrible. So they were bringing through all these academy players in hoping to sell them to generate money, really. So he got his opportunity, and Bordeaux did get relegated, but he was definitely one of the standouts. When he went to Strasbourg, he came in Strasbourg and started playing right wing. Now, this is before Liam Rossigna took over. So his first year or two at Strasbourg, they played a 4-2-3-1. He was wide right of the three. And then Liam Rossigna come in, and then he started playing wing back. And that's where he's been playing for about the past year and a half. But you wouldn't think it looking at his statistics, and the way he's just seamlessly transformed into that role has been excellent. And I think that just highlights the maturity he's had and the growth he's had since his debut. Because I think if you put him at wing back when he first came through, he would be like a rabbit in headlights. Wouldn't know what to do. But he's developed slowly into a more mature and well-rounded player. Now, he's not like Anthony Elanga, which is surprising. So I'm guessing Nuno is looking for a stylistic change from what he got from Anthony Elanga, because Anthony Elanga was all about open spaces, raw athleticism, pace, just using his directness and not really getting involved in play. He wasn't really a playmaker or anything like that. He would create opportunities just by his frightening pace, really. Now, Bakwa does have pace, but he doesn't rely on his pace, and that's the beauty about Bakwa. So Bakwa is more of a technical dribbler, whereas he's more ball dominant than Anthony Elanga. So Bakwa is more of a playmaker, comfortable in tight spaces. He'll drop deep, get involved in the play. What he's very, very good at is progressing his team up the pitch. Now, I think with Nottingham Forest, last season we've seen it. You sat in a deep block and just obliterated teams on the counter-attack. There's nothing against that. But I do think Bakwa's just going to give you a new dimension where you're not one-dimensional. So do you want me to talk about his creative output and how?
Yeah, let me just pop you a couple of questions on there. So he can't be, just to clarify, he couldn't be that outlet that Nuno was using Elanga as, where he would try and get the ball quickly, maybe diagonally over the top to Elanga. Elanga burns with his pace in. That's not his style, is it? It would not work at all with him coming into that setup.
I think it would. It could
not
work
as effective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As in comparison to Elanga.
What I will say on that is it could work because he's not slow. He's quick. He's decisive, and he's got good acceleration, start-stop acceleration. But you won't get the best out of him. You won't complement his attributes playing that way. You want him to get involved in play because he isn't. You get different types of wingers. For example, like Anthony Elanga is more of a limited touches, space exploiter, if you want to call him, fast in transitions. Whereas Bakwa is more high volume touch winger, where he's more of a wide playmaker rather than a dynamic, explosive winger, if that makes sense. So he will drop deep. He'll try and get involved in play. He will come inside. So do you know how Anthony Elanga almost always hog the touchline? The beauty about Bakwa, he's not one-dimensional. He's very unpredictable. If Nuno wants him to hug the touchline, he will do that. And he's a one-on-one specialist. The way he can manipulate opponents into diving into a challenge before he nips the other way is excellent. So his stop-start, his modulation of his speed is excellent. That's what you're going to get out of him. So he touches the ball more than Anthony Elanga. So he will just modulate his speed, let his teammates get in dangerous positions, then he will try and execute the pass that way. Now, the beauty, Anthony Elanga crossed the ball the fourth highest out of anybody in the Premier League last season. Bakwa's averaging 5 crosses per 90. Okay. So it's not like he's not going to bring a similar style than to Anthony Elanga. He just does it in a different way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So Chris Wood is still going to benefit from somebody like Bakwa.
Yeah, because when you look at Elanga's GA last season, I think it was about 17. 6 goals, 11 assists, there or thereabouts. Can't remember the exact numbers. But this is the profile that I was hoping we would go. And what you said earlier about how you thought just by the signing it feels like it can't be what we did last year. That's exactly what at least the reports have been saying over the summer, that Nuno and Forest have kind of agreed that we've kind of been sussed out a bit, because you saw it at the back end of the season when Everton came, when Brentford came, etc. They were like, here you go, Forest, have the ball. We ain't going to give you the space to counter attack. And it feels like this kind of signing is marrying up with it. I just want to touch on this wing back thing that you mentioned, though, bro, because there is times where Forest do go to a 3 at the back. Especially usually when we're winning, Nuno will tend to bring another centre back on and do that. You're saying now that this is a further option, that he could chuck Bakwa at right wing back, and we'll see him still attacking and flourishing doing that as well.
you've hit the nail on the head. So he offers Nuno, as well as positional flexibility, because he can play as an attack midfielder. That's where he really grew up and educated as an attack midfielder. So as well as a positional flexibility, he offers you tactical flexibility, because now you can change your system with him being comfortable as a right wing back as well as a right winger. So he's going to offer you different things in different games. And the best managers want options to adapt, because you cannot just be one dimensional in today's football, because you do get found out. And I think Bakwa is somebody I've been desperate to get at Newcastle United, because his underlying numbers are outrageous. And I was
Talk
actually
about those numbers.
I was actually looking at them, because when you first signed him, before we even spoke about it, I was like, he's not a like for Elanga. Yeah. And I was so excited for you about the signing, because when you compare his numbers against Strasbourg teammates, outrageous. He created the most big chances. So there's green flag number 1. Green flag number 2, he provided the most assists. So his end product is good. It still needs a little bit of work, but he's improving. Now, these underlying numbers, I've actually jotted them down, because I know you love me and me statistics. So he had the most key passes last season with 47. He had the most completed through balls with 11. He switched the play the most out of anybody in Strasbourg's squad with 15 times. And I like that, because you offset their defensive structure by switching the play.
Yeah.
So if you get a player that can switch a play consistently, and he did it the most in Strasbourg's squad, just shows his comfortability in possession, but he's also figuring out ways how to break down the opposition structure. He provided the most crosses with 153. So Chris Wood is still going to get the service that he was getting last season. He had the most passes into the penalty area with 40. He also created the most shots with 110, which is more than Anthony Elanga. He had the most take on attempts with 127. So it just goes to show how good he is at manipulating the ball. He had the most progressive carries out the squad with 107. He had the most carries in the final third with 70. The most carries in the penalty area with 42. So when it comes to offensive statistics, he's outrageous. Now, what I'm trying to say there is he's averaged the most progressive carries, the most carries in the final third, the most carries in the penalty area. So he's not Anthony Elanga, where he'll play on the last man. He will drop deep and receive the ball. So that comfortability in tight areas is just going to help you beat that first line of press. So that's the difference he's going to add here. So when you've got like Murillo on the ball, he's going to have more options to play out from the back. And this is why I think Nottingham Forest's summer is incredibly exciting. I think it will take a little bit of time to adapt and adjust and play this different style. But I think once it gets going, it can be very exciting. And I'm not trying to pick him up.
You always do this to me. You get me excited on these type of players. You know, I'm easy to push my buttons on it.
I know.
I need to ask you about his dribbling, because for me, I've been lacking a proper old school winger who can just pick the ball up and dribble. And the stats you say there are good, because what I've noticed about him when I've watched him, the other thing he does really well, I know it's a silly one to say, but he always seems to win a free kick with his kind of tricks and things. He gets fouled a lot and he gets his team in possession. So am I wrong to say I think he's a great dribbler?
He's probably his best asset, because the way he just manipulates opponents, like the comfortability he has in his feet is unbelievable. Now, he's not one-dimensional either. You will see him go on the outside. You will see him coming on the inside. He prefers to come on the inside, but if there's no space and he understands the spaces on the outside, he will do it. He's one of his biggest qualities, in my opinion, is he's a one-on-one specialist. If he can pin up the fullback, he will beat them or draw a foul. And you know how dangerous you guys are off set pieces as well. So he will create chances that way, not just from open play. So what I would be looking to do if I'm Nottingham Forest and I'm Nuno, is trying to get him into those half spaces in the final third, because that's what Strasbourg did brilliantly. Got him in those half spaces because he can go either way. He can come in on his left side, he can curl in across, or he can go on the outside once he's got room. Now, he's the type of player that you will he will look like he's slowing the game down, but it's all purposeful because what he's doing is trying to control the tempo in the final third. That just allows other players to get into their positions in order for him to try and feed them. So aesthetically, sometimes his dribbling looks like you kind of think what you're doing, but then you'll pull away from a defender and then he opens up the game that way. So he can hurt opponents in different ways. Now, I'm not sitting here saying he's the next Messi. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but
you are.
he just adds. Well, I hope he is for years. But he just adds a different creative output than what you've got already, in my opinion. Because again, he's a wide playmaker rather than a classic winger. Classic wingers get the ball, head down, drive into the byline. But he's more of a classic playmaker, and that's what I like to call him.
I want to ask you about his weaknesses in a second, but I also want your opinion on comparing him to what we currently have that's come through the door. So we've got Ndoye who's come in. He can play both sides, left and right. Nuno tended to start him on the right and then flips him to the left later on. Hutchinson, the Ipswich signing as well. Technically, McAtee can play a bit on the right. Where would you rank him with these? Would he, for you, be an automatic starter, or should I say first choice ahead of those? Or do you think he will have to kind of earn his place amongst those guys?
I think he's going to have to earn his place. And I think, I'm going to be honest, I think mentally, he might find it difficult at first. Because, and the reason I say that is because at Bordeaux, he was like even though he was young, he was getting touted as a superstar. So mentally, he was like, yeah, I'm that guy. Do you know what I mean? I'm that guy. Yeah. And he was like that at Strasbourg. I know Strasbourg have signed a lot of players, but Strasbourg heavily relied on him. And although he didn't always receive the spotlight, he kind of knew his importance and his role in the squad. Whereas when he's coming to the Premier League and somebody like Nottingham Forest, he's not going to be that big guy there. He's a shy boy. I'm not saying he's going to come out and pump his chest because he's quite shy. He's quite quiet in his nature. But I think he might struggle just to find that, how can I break into this squad? Because he's always found that consistency in game time. Yeah. So I think he might struggle at first with the mental side. So I think Nuno's a good man manager. That's how I see Nuno. He's a good man manager. So I think might take a little bit of time just mentally just to get going. But ability-wise, I think he's got enough to play in the Premier League. And I think he's got enough to break into your squad.
Okay. Bringing me back down to earth. I hear it. Let's go even further down. If we talk about his weaknesses. Now, two things I want to, I mean, please feel free to add your stuff in there, but for me, I think he's more left-footed than he is right-footed. I don't think he's a Hunmin Song when it comes to, 5-star weak foot kind of thing. Is that something you would agree with? And also on the physicality side, because he's not a Murillo, you know what I mean? When it comes to that, you think
nobody's a Murillo.
Yeah. Do you think that could play a part in it? Like, what's your take on his weaknesses?
Yeah. Well, they were two I was going to suggest when you said weaknesses, because he is extremely left-footed, not so confident on his right. He will go on the outside, but more than likely will try and cut back rather than crossing with his right foot. So when Chris Wood makes his run, he might get a little bit frustrated. So that is definitely one, because even with passing lanes, when he's in the final third, he'll open up a space, but just hesitate to move the ball with his right foot, and he'll try and do another trick or cut inside. So sometimes that can be frustrating, but definitely physicality in duels, especially when he's looking to explode and going shoulder to shoulder. I think the intensity of the Premier League can really get to him, because I always say this, when you watch the Premier League and you try and just listen, not to the crowd, to the pitch, it's like a rhythm. The ball is bang, 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 bang. Like the intensity, the way they punch the ball, the movement of everybody is just another level than any other league. And I think he might struggle with that physicality wise. So there is definitely areas where he would have to try and find out solutions. And I think that might take him a bit longer. whether he can be a little bit more clever in his spatial awareness to try and avoid those duels and just be a little bit more smarter. I think that's what he's going to have to try and build, but you can only do that with game time, obviously.
Interesting. Does he play out on the left at all? I know stats wise he's had a few games out on the left, but have you seen him at all on that left side?
I have, and he does okay, but again, I think it takes away a lot of his strengths because when he plays, because he's so left-footed, when he plays out on the left, he's one-dimensional. He goes down the left wing, and although he'll put crosses in, he'll do a job. It just takes away what he can really do in that final third. When it comes to like creativity or ball manipulation or taking somebody out of the game, so it does kind of restrict what he's trying to do. But he could definitely do a job out there. Let's say if you've got injuries and he needs to play out there, he could definitely do a job. But it just would take away some of his strengths. And ideally, you want to bring out the strengths in players to create a successful team. But I think players like Morgan Gibbs-White will certainly thrive off somebody like Bakwa, because the way I would be looking at it is because I always say this: profiles and partnerships create a successful team. And I think Morgan Gibbs-White is quite good at supporting the striker, just making those little 5-yard darts runs in between like a centre back and a left back, for example. And I think the way Bakwa can come inside, he can create that partnership with Morgan Gibbs-White to really try and get in advanced positions a lot more. That's what I'll be looking to do. So it could, his style, rather than just going always on the outside like Anthony Elanga did pretty much, could actually benefit other players in the squad as well. So it is exciting for you, I can't lie. It's somebody I wanted in Newcastle.
I can't wait to see him. I'm going to ask you the hard question I always ask you. Let's see if you preempted me asking you this one, because I'm struggling to pinpoint him. I always like to liken a player to someone to kind of help the viewers get a feel of who they think he's similar to. I can't really pinpoint him. I think there are traits within him that, say, Callum Hudson-Odoi has, that cutting in from Callum does from the left wing, the finesse shot and what have you, and those crosses. I think there's a little bit of that from the opposite side, but I don't think he is a Callum Hudson-Odoi. I can't think of a player too much that he reminds me of that I can say, oh, guys, he's a bit like this guy. Is there anyone that comes to mind? I was kind of thinking maybe Fatua a little bit from Leicester. I don't know. I can't really.
I've got a player that comes to mind, but I'm not sure if people have watched him much.
Go on.
Do you know Igo Paxao?
Yeah,
that was
the one Spurs were trying to get. Was it Spurs were trying to get? Yeah.
That's who he reminds us of a little bit. Where, because I was thinking, is he similar to Anthony Gordon, where Anthony Gordon comes inside a lot, but he's not similar because Anthony Gordon relies on raw athleticism, whereas Bakwa doesn't. Bakwa's more of a technical dribbler. So he's kind of similar to Alcanuch in a way.
Okay. Yeah.
In a way where it's more finesse dribbling rather than moving the ball. Like when you watch Anthony Elanga, when you watch Anthony Elanga, he takes a heavy touch because he can rely on his pace. Whereas Bakwa doesn't really do that. He takes those lighter touches because he's trying to manipulate the defender. And he's kind of like Alcanucha does that, or a similar dribbler that kind of takes those lighter touches, maybe not positionally play, but Kulusevski of Tottenham. If you watch him, he doesn't rely on speed.
Yeah.
He relies on, it's more of a technical style of dribbling. That's kind of like Bakwa.
Interesting. I can see even physically, they're the kind of same build as well with the El Canus. I see that. Listen, those are my questions. I need to ask you in the chat: are you more excited or less excited about Bakwa coming in? And he doesn't know I'm going to ask him this, so I'm going to put him on the spot, right? But if you guys want us to do any more of these, especially the younger player scout reviews, so like a Hutchinson, McAtee or something, do you want to see me and Antonio talking about those players as well? I'm sure you'd be up. Would you be up for it if they want you back?
Absolutely. Anytime, bro.
Yeah.
Anytime. Yeah, so absolutely.
So let us know in the comments. But I'll tell you what, I will not even ask him to come back, and let's like 50 to 100 of you go and subscribe to his channel, right? So the link is pinned in the title. Show him some love. He's always coming and helping us, and he's always right about the players on these scout reports. So make sure you go and subscribe to Antonio. Make sure you've liked and subscribed here as well if you are new, bro. Honestly, like I can have said, I have no words.
No,
I'm so
honestly,
excited.
if I'm being honest, I love coming on, because you guys always show us a lot of love in the comments and stuff. So I love coming on, and I'm generally excited about Nottingham Forest this season. I think there might be a bit of teething problems, but I think once you get over that hurdle, it's something quite exciting for you.
Arsenal away next. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, we'll see you guys on the next video. Go and subscribe to Antonio the Legend. Come on, you Reds.